Hello and welcome to our today's topic, that is problems encountered by researchers. Now, as a researcher, when you get into field, there are certain problems that you may come across. If you're lucky, you might not come across them. But there are certain problems that generally a researcher faces, and we'll be specifically talking of countries like India, developing countries, which are not so much data driven, where we do not understand the importance and value of data. So, our problems will be restricted to problems faced by researchers in places like India. Fine. So let us start. The first problem we have is lack of a scientific training in methodology of research is a great impediment for researchers. A lot many researchers in the field today lack this basic training, a lack of scientific training. If you go out and ask 100 PhD scholars, it is almost certain that 50 of those will not be knowing how to operate Excel, MS Excel. And almost 80, 90, maybe up to 95 would not be knowing how to enter data in SPSS. Almost 50, 60, 70, 80 might not have studied statistics as a subject. And they go out and research. In such cases, can we rely on their research? Can we rely on their handling of data if they have no exposure to playing with data, spending time with data, knowing data like back of their hands? We cannot rely on their findings. Majority of the researchers suffer from this, that they lack scientific training. Also, research firms find it costly to hire someone who has some research experience or has studied well, who knows SPSS, who knows how to work on Excel. They find it costly. So they hire, just randomly pick someone who has done graduation, who has done 12th, who is good at speaking, put out him in a field. As we have seen in our earlier lectures, quantitative and descriptive are easier ones. Pick them, send them to field. Just go and count heads. Count how many are using Pepsi, how many are using Coke, how many are using brand A, how many are wearing brand B. A normal graduate, a person who is good with communication can do that thing. But he lacks that instinct of data. And that is a serious impediment. So that is a problem encountered by majority of the researchers. Now, those people who are doing PhDs, they are researchers. We have 100 researchers working in field. But the problem is, they lack a basic knowledge in MS Excel, SPSS, statistics. Basic research framework, basic framework of data. They lack knowledge of types of research. They lack knowledge of research methodology. This is how the quality of research dips down. Next is, there is insufficient interaction between the university research departments on one end and business establishments, government departments and research institutions on the other. So there is a serious gap between university research departments interacting with the outer environment. Now, if you remember our previous lectures, lecture 1, if you remember our first lecture on research, we said research is an academic activity. It is an academic activity. It is a scientific search for knowledge. So you need academicians, you need trained professionals, you need a person who is very good with those numbers, with that data, who knows what kind of data those amateurs, those new recruits, those management trainees are getting me. He needs to have that kind of knowledge. So you need those academic people who know what this data is, what these numbers mean. And these academic people should cooperate with the surroundings, interact with the surroundings. The surroundings being business establishments, government departments, research institutions, everybody around us, around the universities, around the colleges. They should interact with them, identify their research requirements, and then we should, as teachers, we as academicians, we as university or institute professors should give our bit towards research. I remember a very beautiful line, not exactly beautiful, a very important line that Sam Petroda once said in an interview. He was asked, I believe, something that why is India not progressing or developing as it should? Why is our pace so slow? Why is China doing so well? Why are not we doing so very well? He said, the problem with India is that the professors in India are not doing enough research. And the industry persons are not doing enough teaching. Now you might find it confusing. Professors are not doing research and industry personnel are not doing enough teaching. Now India, what we do is, we assume that teaching is the job of a professor, that only a professor is supposed to teach. And industry, I have a business, I am not supposed to teach. I have a business because I was capable. Why would I go out and teach anybody? That is the problem. The industry person is the recruiter, is the person who is facing the problems of market, is the person who is facing the problems of industry, is the person who is facing problems of technology. He is the best person to come out and guide the fresh blood that is about to come in industry. So he is in the best position to teach. We are not talking of academic teaching. We are not talking of 40 lectures in a session or 40 lectures in a semester. We are talking of 3, 4, 5 hours of session. We are talking of a week's workshop where he comes and shares industry experiences with the students. That way, our students will be more job ready. We are not talking of that aspect, we are talking of this other aspect, that professors are not doing enough research. Why do we need professors to get into research? Because of that first problem. What was that first problem? Lack of scientific test training. These professors have a fair bit of scientific training in research. They are the best people to go out and research. Nobody is asking them to go out in the field and collect data, but they can at least be very good guides. They have the trainees, they have the students who will be out on their internship. They can give them projects, they can get the data. So they are in the best position to conduct those researches. They can get in touch with the industry. They can conduct a research on behalf of the industry. A lot of good professors do take these kind of projects. So there is insufficient interaction between the university research departments and the surroundings. Surroundings are government, industry, research institutes and so on. Then another problem with researchers or what they face is, businesses do not have confidence that the material supplied by them to researchers will not be misused, and as such they are often reluctant in supplying the needed information to researchers. Now the businesses over here are very afraid that the researcher will take my data and run away to income tax department and tell them that I am not paying my taxes. Majority of the businesses, leave businesses aside. You go out and ask a person here in Bikaner, you go out and ask any business house, big business houses. You go out and ask their children, this is your admission form, ask your father, what income should we fill in? They'll tell you 2 lakh per annum, 1 lakh per annum. Now Bikaner doesn't have big businesses. national level businesses apart from a Bikaji or something, one or two. Even in a place like Bikaner, where you do not have such majestic, huge businesses, even they are afraid of telling us, even they are afraid of filling their true income in their child's admission form. So when they are not telling, why will industry people tell us? Everybody is afraid that my data will be used against me, that the other person standing in front of me is there to ruin my life, is there to ruin my business. So here businesses are very afraid in sharing their data. They are very afraid that you will definitely misuse this data. There does not exist a code of conduct for researchers. We'll go back to those 100 researchers, 100 scholars pursuing their PhD. There is no code for them. Yes, in recent times, for some hardly 6-8 years, our universities have at least implemented a plagiarism test. Before that, we were not even testing if this research has been published in the very same university. I have seen such cases where the same topic has been done 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times in the same university within a span of 5-10 years, because nobody was even caring to test plagiarism level. So that is the scenario we are working here. So there is no code of conduct for researchers. And because there is no code of conduct, no ethical code of conduct, we work the way we wish to. And in absence of any proper code of conduct, we don't know how to pursue anything. We take the easy way. We do what suits our objective of getting a PhD degree at earliest. So there is no code of conduct for, literally no defined code of conduct for researchers. Inter-university and interdepartmental rivalries are quite common. Inter-university and interdepartmental. Nobody is ready to cooperate. Leave aside those businesses that we talked in third point. Even between departments, electrical and electronics, electrical and instrumentation, instrumentation and IT, accounts and production, marketing and HR, even they are not ready to cooperate with us, with each other. If one department has expertise, he is not ready to share his expertise with the other departments. What can you do? You can't help it. There does not exist a code of conduct for researchers. Inter-university and interdepartmental rivalries are very common and very fierce. You just can't fight them. Many researchers in our country also face the difficulty of adequate and timely secretarial assistance, including computer assistance. UGC and AICT need to provide an environment conducive for research. Many researchers in our country also face difficulty of adequate and timely secretarial assistance. Now see, research is a very big project. It is not like just go out, make a questionnaire of 15 questions, 12 questions, 10 questions, 8 questions, as the students at majority of the colleges do in their internship. 12 questions, 4 of which are asking their name, their city, their salary, and 8 are not even relevant. So it is not a matter of just going out, asking 12 questions, coming home after 45 days or 56 days or 60 days as the training may be, coming home, making charts. 80% said yes, 20% said no. 60% said choice A, 30% said choice B, 10% said no comment. This is not research. Research is a huge task. It is a project. You need people with differing capacities, different capabilities. And I cannot do all the tasks. I cannot do everything. There will be certain people who will be good with Excel. There will be certain people who will be good with Data entry. A data entry person need not necessarily be very good with an analytical part. He is very good with entering the data. His fingers run. So he can enter data very fast. But he may not necessarily be very good with Excel or SPSS. So you need a different person for data entry, you need a different person for analytics, you need a different team to gather data. So many researchers lack this kind of secretarial support. And we end up doing everything by ourselves. Now, as in point number 2, we said there is a problem that the university research departments are not interacting with external world surrounding it, industry, government, research institutes. The university department is not interacting. And whose responsibility it is? Who has the ownership? Who has the authority over them? UGC and AICT. They can create an environment. They can push the departments. They can push the professors towards research. The onus is on AICT and UGC to incentivize the research. Right now, for a professor, the only incentive of a research is first getting a PhD degree so that I am called doctor, and secondly getting n number of papers so that it helps in my CAS, Career Advancement Scheme, CAS. That is it. Professors are doing research only for this sake. This can be changed. Definitely we need a framework. I also am a teacher and I am existing in an environment where I cannot think of research. I have to work on the projects given to me. There is a resource crunch everywhere. Every teacher at my place is doing 10 different clerical tasks. So there is a resource crunch. We can't help it. But UGC and AICT can provide us with a framework where these teachers, where these university professors can concentrate on the real task they have. Otherwise, these professors and teachers will do research only for CAS. First for PhD and then for CAS. We need to bring them out of that mindset. We need to bring them into a mindset where from first lecture they do research, they perform research for intellectual joy. We are not doing research for intellectual joy. Problem is we do not have an environment. UGC and AICT with proper schemes, proper incentives can provide us with an environment where I will research for intellectual joy. I will not research for getting 3 points or 5 points per paper. I will not research for getting my next grade. I will research for intellectual joy. I will research for contributing to the country, contributing to the world, contributing to the mankind through my knowledge. Any research can contribute to the mankind. Again, we'll go to our example of Maslow's hierarchy. That hierarchy has done wonders. Today, the business world knows that at the lowest level, only monetary incentives can drive them. And at the highest level, only actualization is the driving force. They are not running for money. So the business world knows this. It is a result of Maslow's hierarchy. So these professors should be provided with an environment, and this rests on UGC and AICT. Then library management and functioning is not satisfactory at many places, and much of the time and energy of researchers are spent in tracing out the books, journals, reports, etc. rather than tracing out the relevant material from them. Majority of the time is spent in looking for books, making calls to different libraries, finding out their email IDs, finding out numbers of different libraries all across the country, calling them, do you have this journal? Do you have this copy? Do you have this book? Majority of the time is going in this exercise. When my majority of the time should have gone in, I have this journal, I have 10 different issues of this journal, now let me read these articles. Instead of reading those articles, I'm just calling and emailing. So library structure is not so good in India. There is also the difficulty in timely availability of published data from various government and other agencies doing this job in our country. I need not say anything. For last 6 years, no concrete data has come out of any government organization. Only when the pressure mounts, fake data is coming out. So what more can we expect from anybody else if people who are running this country are not giving out data? We are always late on data. You give a task to someone, ask him to report tomorrow at 10, he won't report. He'll wait till you call up and ask. That is the problem. Nobody is reporting. No data is coming out on time. Researcher also faces the problem on account of the fact that the published data vary quite significantly because of the differences in coverage by concerning agencies. Now what can we say? As taken in above case, even the government is not publishing data. And even when it does, 100,000 times it itself revises it. The reason being, its different ministries are giving north, south, east, west numbers. So, even when, first of all, the data is not released. We are just taking an example of government. This applies to every single individual. This applies to me. When my principal gives me a task, when my university gives a task to my institute, when AICT gives a task to a university, everybody is in this scenario. Everybody is in this state. First of all, we do not complete task in time. Second, if at all that data comes out, it is not reliable. It varies significantly between sources. There may at times take place the problem of conceptualization and also problems relating to the process of data collection and related things. Yes, this does happen, and it is an outcome of, again, I'll jump to a topic where we talked of UGC and AICT. UGC and AICTE are exactly not giving us a framework where a research professor, a professor in research department can pick up a bunch of kids who are very good with numbers, who have the potential to be good researchers. He can pick up those kids and work on them. We do not have such kind of framework. We are going out and teaching research to 60 students. We are going out and evaluating them. We assign 8-10 students per teacher. Those teachers may be from human resource, marketing, finance, accounts, IT. Everybody is expected to be doing research. Now this creates chaos. Here I'll again attach that issue with hypothesis. In that lecture, if you remember, I said that not every research will have an hypothesis. Descriptive researches generally do not have an hypothesis. Descriptive are just describing. Descriptive are just describing that product A is consumed more than product B. Descriptive is just telling me that rainfall during previous year was above the average of last 100 years. Descriptive is doing this. There is no hypothesis. I do not start with saying that this year, last year there was more rain. No, I am not starting with saying that last year it was more rain. I am just measuring previous year's rain and I am telling that for last 100 years it has not rained like this on an average. So, here is the problem, that we are not keeping the capable people in research. We are putting everyone into research process. Not everybody is made for research, like not everybody is made for marketing. Like not everybody is made for accounts. Similarly, not everybody is made for research. And if you put everybody in research, this is the problem that we face. What is the problem? There may at times take place problem of conceptualization and problems relating to process of data collection. Now, if you put a person in place who is not comfortable with numbers, who studied statistics last time when he was doing MBA 15-20 years ago, and then all of a sudden that student brings in front of him a detailed SPSS report. SPSS. The teacher will be overwhelmed. Oh my God, SPSS. Perfect. You have done the best project. That is it. That teacher doesn't have that capacity to evaluate the data because he has not been into data. He is not a person from numbers. He is not a person from data. Not all 5 fingers are equal. Not everybody can go out and sell products. Not everybody can manage accounts. It is a very typical task to manage accounts. Similarly, not everybody can go out and play with data, handle data, manage data, know the data, understand the data. So there is this problem of conceptualization. Among those who are conducting these researches, those who are gathering that data, those who are interpreting this data, those who are reading these researches, that is a problem. The reason is we do not have a research framework. We are not research driven universities. We are not research driven campuses. We study research because we have a subject called research methodology. We do research because we need a PhD. Then we write research papers which are very much compatible to papers written by students. 80% are saying yes and 20% are saying no. This is the level of research. So this is a problem of conceptualization. Now I am not putting the blame on that teacher who was not able to interpret the data. I am not putting the blame on the student because not everybody is made for such things. So when you push them into this, they'll do some kind of research, they'll come up with some kind of concepts which may not be so much reliable. So this is another big problem. So these were certain problems encountered by researchers. So we wind up today's lecture. If you have any issues, problems, queries, ideas, suggestions, topics that we should cover over here on this channel, do leave them in Dropbox or message box. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Take care. Hello, don't go anywhere as yet. Here are some cards related to the video you just watched. Watch another video. And yes, do subscribe to our channel by clicking the logo here.